All right, here we are, episode
Whoa!
13. And we get to talk about something we haven't talked about since October 8th.
Oof.
A Vikings win.
Yes, that was a nail biter.
Yep.
It was
Beginning.
all I expected it to be and less.
Yeah, that was not fun to watch.
It's
And
painful.
it made it even more frustrating that we had another flag that was called, or that was not called on a play that scored points.
Yes.
Yep.
That should have been called.
They picked up the flag.
And they used the same reasoning for we didn't see it.
I think part of it was, it was a glancing blow. They hit the shoulder first. No, they didn't. The forearm hit his face mask first. It was a blow to the head. It's an automatic 15 yards.
It is incredibly frustrating. And the fact that they threw the flag to begin with.
Right.
Yep.
So you saw something. And then we're like, maybe I didn't see something
Then
because they scored.
I'm just going to unsee that.
That was the most frustrating part, is that they kept beating themselves. And then I was like, oh, great. This is going to be another Rams game where they just keep throwing flags and the rags beat us too.
They are rags because rags could do the same job right now. And hats off to our guys for bouncing back from that, because they could have just crumbled after that play.
I wish that they would have released Kevin O'Connell's halftime locker room speech.
Yeah, I noticed you were looking for everybody. Somebody was looking for it. I don't know what it was, but
I
knew
either.
It was you, but I thought other people.
I kept tweeting it out. I'm like, give us the halftime locker room speech, because they came out and honestly, they looked like a different team.
Yeah.
They looked more composed. They looked like they were ready for the lights. They weren't making as many mistakes. The defense still came out pretty lights out, very lights out. And I want to know what he said to him at halftime.
I would like to know myself now. Like, you had me intrigued by that. Like, he must have said something, but
right?
How did he say it? Not even what did he say. How did he say it?
Those are my favorite things. Is not necessarily the beginning of the game hype up speeches, but the middle of the game locker room speeches when just nothing is going your way. I want to know what they're saying, especially when they come back. And I mean, they ended up winning a game that they were like just being destroyed in.
But they weren't. That's the thing.
The offense was just getting every unlucky thing to happen.
That more so, right? Because they moved the ball. They had 415 yards of offense.
Yeah.
But you had Sam, God knows what went through his brain when he did the Nick Mullins move and tried to throw into triple coverage in the end zone.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then when he tried it, was it Hawkinson that he tried to throw it to?
After the interception from Murph, yeah.
I get it, because you can see, but were you looking anywhere else other than laser focus on Hawkinson?
You're right. I think he had locked in, and he definitely didn't see the DB coming across. He thought he had the pass that was open most of the night, right? Just find that little pocket and throw the ball in there. He thought he had it again. He didn't. There was somebody there. So
there were two people there. Right. The first guy intercepted, and I bet that second guy would have at least knocked it down, if not intercepted it.
I just, when I saw the replay, different angles, I kind of got what Sam thought he saw.
Yeah, I got where he was trying to go, and I got that he was trying to make a really dart, but Sam.
What gets me is the way he threw that ball on that line, instead of getting some air under it, is that ball lands at the receiver's knees.
Yeah.
It falls down and hits
That's
him
fair.
in the knees.
That's fair.
It's a low throw to begin with. And you got to at least get a little air under it to get it not just over that linebacker that's right there dropping back, but give your receiver a better chance to catch it. Because it wasn't like one of those sideline passes where you're trying to throw it low and be the only place that your receiver can catch it.
Yeah. Man, here we are nitpicking the first half, and they
know.
won.
And they won. We're right, and but
Yeah.
that's what we do as Vikings fans, right? We have to pick apart what didn't work.
Well, you pick apart like the egregious ones. Like
Yeah,
that was
bad.
that was a bad decision and a bad throw.
And he'll tell you that. He'll tell you when he made a bad decision and a bad throw. He definitely owns it.
We're supporting him in his choice of owning it.
Yeah.
By telling him, yeah, you're right.
I mean, it was such a weird game in so many ways. Like his numbers overall were really solid. 28 of 34 beat. But he made 2 bad throws. He threw 3 touchdowns. He made some good plays with his legs. And the fumble, I don't hold that against him because he got slapped in the head.
Yeah. That was a fluke thing. It just makes me mad that it's the second time in 2 weeks.
Yeah. But I think the play the one that got me, not even the second interception, it was the first one when they were in field goal range. According, we didn't know the injury issue with Will at that point. Was
he injured going into the game, or did he get injured in the game?
No, he was hurt going into the game. He didn't tell anybody. He was gonna stick it out. So when we saw him miss the first field goal, I watched him kick it, and he's like, "That's not his normal follow through."
Yeah.
That's not that power through the ball kick. That was a very tentative, and that's why it faded right. And then when he missed the 31-yarder, at first I thought, oh no, here we go again. It's Blair Walsh all over.
Yeah.
But then you hear he was kicking injured, and he said that after the game that he didn't approach that kick the way he normally approaches it, and that's why he hit the upright. So his injury that injury definitely affected him. But then the guy comes through, he drills 3 extra points.
Right.
He's kicking touchbacks. He can't land on the leg. I mean, he's coming down where he's like barely coming down on it. And it's the kid was a gamer, but now we're gonna most likely lose him until December. And that's going to hurt us.
Well, the only thing is that our next few opponents potentially are the best time to be without a kicker.
Well, our upcoming game, and we can talk about it a little bit later, but Jacksonville their record isn't good, but they're in most of their games. So not having a kicker could be a big deal. Tennessee does not score points. Their offense is not great. And Chicago, the game's in Chicago. The Bears, you don't know what you're going to get out of them. They laid a big egg against the Cardinals this weekend, but they've had games this year where they look really good. So maybe we would need a kicker in a game like, especially if the weather's bad and you're coming down to nobody can move the ball.
Like so, if it's super cold.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could get away with it, but I don't think we will get away without having a decent kicker for the next few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, ideally we just don't want him injured, but it's nice that they're holding him out before we get to the last few games.
Yeah. And our center, our long snapper's out too. And
he's out. Like he's not coming back because he had a surgery on his hand.
They think he could come back by December too, but it's nothing.
Who's our backup long snapper?
We just signed Jake McQuaid to be our long snapper. He has 200 games of experience as a long snapper. He played with the Rams. So
we should have gotten Andrew East, Sean Johnson's husband.
well,
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
KOC knows this guy because he had him a little bit when he was in LA. So he's decent. I mean, long snap, but he's also new to the team, and it's a new cog in the wheel. And the way these guys spin the ball back, it's not all the same thing. So now your holders got to get used to a different kind of spin on the ball, kind of.
Yeah.
2/3 of your kicking game is now hurt, and it's going to be a struggle, I think. But we really should talk about the good stuff now.
Yes,
because we did win. Our defense just balled out.
They were our saving grace. It was so nice to see. It was so nice to see him flip it back around, and to be that lights out defense that they have been.
I think we got lucky. That it was Flacco, and Flacco was trying to make too much happen. Because over and over again on the broadcast, I heard them say, and they show that, he had his 5-yard running back wide open. He had his tight end wide open. And I mean, there's short passes, but they're the check down passes that Goff was checking down to. He would check down and they'd run for 12 yards. And so I think we got lucky. And I think that's the hole in our defense right now is we've got nobody to cover these. Like they all bail out, and there's no one left to cover the checkdowns to stop them from going for more than 10 yards.
Yeah, that's where we missed Blake Cashman.
Yep.
And so I think we got lucky. I think Flacco made bad decisions and we got lucky. I'm not going to gripe about the win. Like everything else on coverage was good, but it was also good coverage on Goff, except for one or two guys at each time. Well, one guy each time, and Goff is just better at finding the one guy open.
And that's a
we're talking about positive things here.
And I'm talking about what we need to fix to be better for next week and the week after.
We're talking about
So
positive things of the game here.
And just being a Vikings fan, we always look for the bad in everything.
I'm being a coach.
We look for the bad in everything. We have to. It's part of our nature.
See, I'm stuck in coach mode. I'm looking at it. I'm like, how can we improve? How can we get better? Like, where are we weak at?
And I'm sure they've looked at it too. And it's always easier to get better after a win.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line is the defense gave up 3 points. I say 3 because there was the scoop 6, which shouldn't have happened.
Yep.
Then after the interception that Darnold threw, they allowed 2 yards. So the field goal, that's not on them. And even the field goal that the Colts got, it took our third penalty of the game to set up that field goal, and they had to kick it because they were down by 2 scores.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a solid performance, not the best performance. I still worry a little bit about the pass rush. We got 3 sacks in the game, all in the final 2 minutes.
Grenard.
Yeah, Grenard. He had back-to-backs, right?
Yeah.
So this is Joe Flacco. I mean, this isn't vintage. Well, it actually is vintage Joe Flacco, but it's not young Joe Flacco. I was a little disappointed by that, but the coverage was good. The secondary was sticking. The Bobby Boucher thing worked last week, right? We brought the tackling fuel, and they visualized an attack for sure.
Yeah.
The 4th and 2 when our two old DBs collided and knocked the ball out to get the ball back at the end. It was great,
Yeah.
So there were some good things. They didn't give up much at all on the ground.
They did. I mean, I don't feel like they even targeted Taylor anyways, but he was pretty non-existent, I feel like.
Yeah, he was a non-factor. We converted 50% of our third downs. The penalties, again, we only had the one penalty going into the final 2 minutes. And the second penalty was just stupidity.
Yeah.
Where we're celebrating a sack on second down, and it's like, guys, they're in a hurry up.
Come on. Why are we, like, he's going to use this.
Get up on the ball.
Rogered that penalty.
Yeah, like the synchronized sack dance, that's not the time or place for it.
Yeah.
So, again, it was a solid game overall on the defensive side. The offense moved the ball, but turnovers, missed field goals. I mean, you're looking at a game that we won by 8. We probably could have won the game by 15, maybe 20 points when you look at things. But you take the wins. They're better than losses. Like I always say, there's no such thing as a pretty loss, right? You don't have pretty losses.
I think the closest pretty loss we had was against the Lions.
Yeah, but it's still a loss. There's no I'll take every ugly win you have.
Yeah.
If the team won 13 ugly games, that's 13 wins. So not the worst game, but probably the right opponent, and Dan's probably right that we a little bit of luck was involved, but you know what? A little bit of luck is involved with a lot of teams. A lot of really good playoff teams have a little bit of luck involved, so we'll take it. Stars. Who are our stars from this one? Let's start with Cora.
I'm gonna go with a little bit not. I have a couple obvious ones, but I'm gonna go with Cam Robinson. He came in and did a very stand-up job. I don't have his exact stats, but he did not. He was better than Blake Brandel when he was finishing the game against the Rams. Way better. You didn't hear about him, which is always good with an offensive lineman. And they were having so many issues on the interior that it was nice that we had our tackles were ready to go. So it was. I'm gonna have him as my star because it was his first week. He was here Wednesday, and he played. He doesn't even really know the playbook yet, so I'm gonna have him as my star.
That's a good pick. I have no problem with that at all. Dan, who did you pick this week?
Mr. O'Neill. He had a big game as a tight end.
O'Neill.
Or not O'Neill. Who am I thinking? Oliver. Not O'Neill.
Way to go.
Oliver. Screwed his name up. Oliver. He had a big game as a tight end. Sealed the deal for the last touchdown. 5 catches, 63 yards. Caught every pass thrown to him.
And he blocks well. I mean, that's the thing. He kept Sammy pretty well upright for the most part. So I like that one as well. And the funny thing is that could have been Cora's X factor had TJ sat the game out, and it would have been an easy call for this week's X factor win. I'm gonna go with the standard every week. He's a star. I have a lot of guys on my list, but I have to because nobody took them. You got to take JJ.
Yeah, I have him on my list.
I mean, 137 more yards on 7 grabs, and he completed a pass for 22 yards.
Yeah. And isn't he now third in most receiving yards overall in his first 5 seasons?
Yeah, I think he's up there. I think you're right.
And he's in 8 games or 9. 8 games.
8 games.
8 games, and he's third.
Yeah.
We aren't even like he's gonna surpass everyone, and it's gonna be insane to watch.
As long as we don't pull a Zimmerman and Zimmer, whatever his name is, and not get him the ball.
Yeah. Then those last, what was it?
5 plays.
No, it was one. It was 13 yards or something like that, or 9 yards to get the rookie season record.
Yeah, and you can get it. I think we could just start instead of picking. We'll call it 3 stars that aren't named Justin Jefferson. That could be the segment name because we pick him every week. He's always
Yeah.
there. There are other guys that are not getting mentioned that probably deserve it.
So Justin Jefferson is third.
He's 102 yards behind first place.
There's absolutely no way he doesn't get that.
He's 61 yards behind Randy Moss.
It's crazy.
This is insane. I don't think we realize that.
And he's currently 12 games behind each of them. Each of them were Torrey Holt and Randy Moss for 80 games. Each of them set in 80 games.
And Randy Moss was kind of handicapped because Chris Carter was the other receiver there.
Yeah.
So,
right?
It wasn't like he was the only option. Chris Carter's your 2, and even Jake Reed was your 3. So it wasn't like he was the go-to, where JJ pretty much is. So
sometimes I forget that he is as amazing as he is.
Because he does it so easily.
He does it so easily, and he's so quiet about it.
Yep.
Randy Moss does have him smoked on receiving touchdowns, though.
Yeah. He has everyone.
In the first 5 years, Moss had 60.
Oh,
JJ is currently at 35.
Torrey Holt is 35 as well, but
Moss was just so much fun to watch.
Jerry Rice had him beat at 66, though.
Mm-hmm.
But Moss was just so much fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
And
so we got our 3. Okay, it's time. X factors. Now, because it was so close this week statistically, I took this to Twitter for who should win.
Oh, you did?
I had a poll, and the first poll ended up tied. 2 guys. So I ran a 1-hour poll, a 2-player runoff. Now I'll give you the stats, and then I'll give you who Twitter chose, and we should probably go with. I think that's how we should do this.
I think so too. I think that's a really good idea.
When it's close, like when it's a blowout and we don't need Twitter to do it, we won't.
Yeah.
But this was so close, he said we got to take it to our Twitter people. So Dan took Jalen Naylor, who had 1 catch for a touchdown. It was a touchdown, but he only had 1 catch, 7 yards. Cora took Hawk, and he had 3 grabs for 27 yards. Modest, but he came back and people loved it. And I had Joshua. 2 tackles and assists. I heard his name a lot, though. A lot of pressure on the quarterback. So, but I said, no, we'll take it because the numbers, the statistics, not the what you don't see, kind of was okay. And Josh and Hawk got into a runoff for an hour.
Let's go.
And the winner by 1 vote, TJ Hawkinson this week.
Let's go.
So we will say it's probably just having him back in the lineup, drawing some attention away. That is kind of what an X Factor does. He may have helped open up some avenues for guys like Addison and JJ this week. So I have no problem saying the best X Factor this week is TJ Hawkinson.
That's fair.
And in her defense, she did say the tight ends.
I said tight ends or Hawkinson if he plays.
Yeah, but you can't. We set that rule early that you can't just broad band of position. But it's fair.
Now I've got 2.
Yep.
I'm making a comeback, guys.
Cora's on a roll.
I'm making a comeback.
It's good. It's all good. We're picking guys, and we've had weeks where everybody's kind of contributed, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's good that it's hard to choose.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So we got a game this week, our first of 3 consecutive road games. Going down to Florida, Jacksonville, playing a team with a record that isn't so great, but if you watch them play, they're very competitive. I mean, they made a run at the Eagles. They fell down 22 points, and they had the Eagles on the ropes for a little while. Although the one touchdown was kind of bogus, I thought. The scoop and score was a little bit bogus, but regardless, they made a run. They came up short.
They almost beat the Packers as well.
Yeah.
They're almosting.
Although they almost beat the Packers, who played with, Malik Willis at quarterback, and almost beat them.
That's fair.
So, the things that we have to watch for is a mobile quarterback. Finally, we're playing in Trevor Lawrence. He hasn't impressed me much this year after getting all that money, but he's still mobile, and mobility seems to cause us all kinds of problems. So that's something to keep an eye on. The hope as a Viking fan is that the Jaguars are so deflated and defeated from all these close losses
that they're just
ready to throw in the towel. And we're not going to have a kicker. I'm sorry. I consider it not even having a kicker. When you're signing XFL guys whose college careers kicking were mostly kickoffs, his field goal ratio in college was abysmal, but he didn't kick that many of them. He did have a great season in the XFL where he was 17 out of 19 with a 57-yarder.
Okay.
So there's that to hang a hat on.
There's promise.
And the XFL has more narrow uprights, don't they?
I don't know. I don't know if that's possible.
Or is that I'm thinking old school arena football here.
Yeah, arena football, they're real narrow. They're like kicking it through a needle.
Yeah.
But although KOC said the pickings for kickers are pretty slim right now.
Yeah.
So something for us all to keep an eye on.
We've got a high school kid here in Woodbury that can hit a 60-yarder. So
yeah, not even kidding.
Can he opt out and go to play for the Vikings? Can that happen?
Yeah.
He probably would.
Yeah.
The Viking or the Gophers signed him.
Yep.
Can we get a special dispensation and have him kick this next 4 games?
Jeez.
We'll see. Maybe we won't even need a kicker for a game.
Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Maybe our 2-point conversions will be so good. We'll throw some new wrinkles in with those that we won't need a kicker. X factors for this. Then
can we get a lineman to toe punch it in, like
something. Can our punter kick at all? Can Wright kick at all?
Can he kick at all?
I don't know. I'm guessing not if they're bringing in a kicker.
That's fair. That's fair.
We'll see. It is a week-to-week league, and our weeks are always full of confusion and mystery.
I will say we might have a slight upper hand because Robinson just came from there. So he might be able to give us some insight or give our defense some insight.
I'm sure they're picking his brain hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might have a little bit of
It's something to hang your hat on.
An inside guy.
There we go. I couldn't think of words at that moment.
Her mind just went
blank.
Empty.
We brought a spy in. That's not the first time the Vikings have done something like that. They've signed guys off of practice squads just to try and pick their brains.
Yeah. And this wasn't off of a practice squad. He was starting.
He's a starter. We needed him.
Yeah. I imagine that happens across the league, though.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah. All right.
Well, since Cora won again, thanks to a poll.
Let's go.
Who you got this week for your X Factor?
I am going to choose Murphy.
Ooh.
Murph's had a good run.
He has. He had a really good week this last week. Every so often, he's coming in more. He got a game ball. I'm going to pick Murphy. I actually just added him to my list because I think when you said now we have like a mobile quarterback, we're going to need our corners to, because sometimes Trevor Lawrence just kind of like wings it, and we're going to need our corners to step up. So I think Murphy's going to be the X factor this week.
All right.
He's gonna step up and he's gonna be watching and picking him off. I'm gonna go with 2 interceptions.
That's bold.
Ooh.
That's a bold move.
I'm gonna say he's gonna have 2 interceptions.
Move, God.
I like it though. I like when you go out on a limb like that.
Yeah.
Because when it happens,
go Murph.
Yeah, go Murph. Get yourself your Murphy jersey and wear it.
I should.
Who do you got, Dan?
All right. Well, since she didn't go with him, because I'm sitting here looking at her notes, and he's right at the top of her notes, and I was like, I got to come up with somebody else then. Van Ginkel. And my reasoning is for so much more less than anything related to football. I'm going long hair versus long hair.
Oh my gosh.
Long blonde hair against long blonde hair.
Long blonde locks, baby.
One has to be the
There is
winner.
one supreme lock leader.
Oh my god.
Give them both big hammers and let's see who wins.
Yes. Put me on there between the two of them and see which one it goes to.
Oh man.
He was on my list too because he hasn't done a lot in the last couple of weeks. I think he's due for a breakout. So that's a good call.
That is a good call.
I have so many choices on this list. Like I have Cam Akers.
I had him too. That's why I took off and put Murphy on.
But I'm going to go off the beaten path here. And it's going to be hard to determine. But Matt Daniels is my X factor this week.
Okay.
Because we have to rebuild our kicking game in 5 days.
Okay.
He's got to get the special teams, and I'm looking specifically at the scoring side of the special teams. He's got to get them prepared in 5 days. He's got a new kicker and a new long snapper. He's got to make it look almost seamless.
Okay.
And that's a tough job.
I like that. That's a good one.
That's a tough job. So I decided to go nuts here, and we'll determine it. If he did well or not, it'll be pretty easy to determine. But
yeah.
Matt Daniels.
I like it.
I'm gonna play nice. I'm gonna let you pick a backup on the off chance.
On the off chance of what?
No,
that we don't kick.
No, because it's still special teams. So if we don't kick, he's still got to come up with something. So let's say we don't kick. Now he's going to be going for 2 after touchdowns.
I think the offense stays on.
Well, then that's still him.
For it on 4th down.
It's still considered special teams.
You think that's? I don't think that's on Daniels as much.
If they don't trust him.
It's still the special teams. It's still considered a special teams play.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Leaving the offense on the field, it's still a special teams. It's still an extra point.
I'm not saying just an extra point, though. I'm saying we're in field goal range and 4th down.
Well, then my coach would probably lose.
Okay.
Because that would mean they don't have enough faith in what he did during the week.
That's fair.
I'm okay with it.
Stand an olive branch and you throw a thorn bush back at me.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but I got to stick with my guns here. I don't want to take the out clause.
Right.
I like your choice.
I got to stay with my convictions. If I was going to take the out clause, it would be Cam Akers. So it's kind of like I'm not taking the out clause, but it'll be interesting to see if I should have gone with Cam Akers. Kind of like when you're watching, Hell's Kitchen, and they pick 5 of the dishes and one sits out, and usually the one they let sit out is the one Ramsay says, "Why didn't you choose that one?" This is going to be my event.
I mean, I had him on my list too, so we both might regret that.
Yeah, he ran the ball very well at the end of the game.
Oh, I was like all defense. Murphy, Grenard, Van Ginkel.
I always try and mix it up. I always try to have somebody from each side of the ball. And today I went rogue and went with the special teams coach. So we'll see how that works.
I'm on the side of I'm picking more defense because I think that's where we're the weakest right now. And I think our X factor, like to me anyways, is
isn't our defense like literally ranked higher than our offense?
Well, I get where Dan's coming from. The last couple of games going into Sunday night, they had looked a little weak. So they're a weak point as of late.
As of late, yes.
So that's a fair statement on Dan's part.
And so it's more of that's where I think the bigger impact of the game is going to come from.
Good analysis.
All right.
And speaking of defense,
she's already getting defensive.
I am. I am getting defensive
because he's getting picked on here.
We are still a good team, and you should still believe in them. Literally what I wrote down.
That's to me.
No, I think it's a little bit to me too. We had some texting that we all shared this weekend too.
We are still a good team, and we should all still believe in them. I will say there has not been a team that has won after they have played the Lions.
Yep.
So I'm really looking forward to the Packers losing against the Bears. But there has not been a team that has won after they played the Lions. So we didn't win. And it was way closer than any of the other games that people had played after they played the Lions. So it gave me a little bit of hope because it wasn't a complete and utter blowout. It wasn't great, but it wasn't a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been our defense that has been the issue, and our defense was better. Our defense didn't have as many mistakes. They didn't allow a touchdown. Honestly, did they really even allow points? So I think the offense this week was still adjusting to TJ Hawkinson coming back. I think Sam's obviously not used to playing with him. TJ's not used to playing with Sam, and I think they were learning, and it just hadn't vibed yet with everything. They're starting to utilize Addison again, and I think they lost that the last few weeks, that they were so narrow. I think when they start to lose, they're narrow focused on get it to certain people, and when they're winning, they're handing it to everyone, and that's the winning piece. And I think we're getting back to that. I think it's really important that we have a running back number 2, and Cam Akers was able to come in and produce. It wasn't like Ty Chandler, who was a few splash plays. He was able to do what he needed to do. And Robinson was an excellent add. He is ranked 20th overall at left guard. And obviously it's not as good as our number 1 guy, or I don't even know what he's ranked, but it's better than who we had. And he came in, he did an excellent job. He played his heart out, got a game ball. So I think this was a really great start. And honestly, if he could play guard and get rid of Ingram, that would be ideal.
Poor Ed.
He needs to figure out his feet. Because isn't he the one that made Kirk Cousins fall down because he kept stepping on him?
Yeah.
And that was why Bradbury fell, was because of Ingram's feet. So you should still believe in this team. They are still good.
Our offense is great.
Our defense is good.
It could be better.
I don't think our offense is great. I think our offense is solid. I wouldn't say great. I don't go great with the offense. I think they're solid.
I think our offense is great.
I think
the production we get out of JJ, the ability we now have to spread the ball around at the various levels, our tight ends coming into play,
2 running backs. The pure fact that we controlled, granted, we threw some interceptions, but we controlled the field. We had way more time on offense. And I think that is more important, to control the amount of time on offense. Because if our defense is out there and they're not great, it's best to not have them out very long. Or it's best not to gas them. And it's best to make sure they have a long rest.
Yeah, that's the part. It's more about gassing them. Because on that last drive that the Colts tried to put together, that defense wasn't gassed. They were coming ears pinned back. They were definitely not gassed. So, yeah, that's where the offense comes into play. Keeping the defense fresh by staying on the field.
Mm-hmm. And they did an excellent job. And I think the addition of Akers and actually having a true RB2 and a good one, and Hawkinson coming back and having multiple tight ends, I think that is going to be huge.
I think we're getting more and more confidence in Josh Oliver every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is something I harp on this podcast on the regular. Use your tight ends. Where's the tight end?
Now with Hawkinson back and the ability to run a 2 tight end set and then pass out of it, that's going to be huge.
And he's such a good tight end that you can't not cover him.
Right. Hawk's going to draw attention, but now you have to keep a kind of look out the corner of your eye. Where's Oliver going?
Where's Oliver? Yeah. Where's Jefferson? Where's Addison? Where's Naylor? Where's Hawkinson? Where's Oliver? Where's Jones? Where's Akers? That's 7 people you have to be paying attention to. Obviously, you're not going to be all out on the field at the same time, but that's 7 people.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do it. No, I'm just kidding. That's 7 people that you have to game plan for.
And then there's Powell. And then there's Powell, who just happens to be fairly decent when he gets out there.
He comes in with clutch.
Yeah.
He is like Wright.
Jarius Wright.
Jarius Wright, where he just kind of comes in and it's like, when you need him, he's there.
Yep. There's a lot of weapons. There are a lot of weapons on this team. I love the way Akers ran on Sunday night. It was a nice breath of fresh air compared to watching. Again, I hate to pick on Ty Chandler. He's out there doing what he can, but
he makes splash plays.
He's tentative. He runs tentatively. He's always waiting for the hole to open instead of looking for a crack to pop through.
Yeah.
He wants that big opening, whereas guys like Akers and Aaron Jones, they just want that small. You just got to give them a little bit of a crack to hit. There's a difference.
I'm going to use a little gaming term here. I think that he reminds me of a glass cannon. And such that if there's a hole big enough, he's going to hit it and he's going to go. And he goes fast. But if it's not there, he breaks down.
Right.
And it's one of those of the smallest things can make him break. But he's explosive when it's there.
I don't know what the running back situation is going to be next year. Can't think about that, but I think it's going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
Than it does right now. And I'll just leave that there for the time being. Dan. I guess it's time.
It is in the next of time. All right. So Bo Nix this week. Average week, I'd say. I was a little disappointed. I watched as much highlights as I could. Overall, he went 19 for 33 on 223 yards, 1 interception, and most so far this season, 4 sacks. QBR 52.9 this week. He didn't catch a touchdown, which was kind of cool.
What's his name? Sutton got me a ton of fantasy points.
Yeah. He had a lot of connection with Sutton. The highlights I watched, he he missed one touchdown pass that sailed a little on him. He was bailing out of the pocket, moving to his side, and he tried to sidearm it, and it just sailed high. I think he wishes he could add that one back, but that was also the next play. They run a little Sutton pass to Bo Nix, and Nix catches it. If he doesn't make it as quarterback, he might have a future as a receiver.
He did a nice job boxing out.
Yeah. Well, did you see the turn in midair to get over the line?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So I mean, he looked good. The passes he made in the field, like he's getting more comfortable. Everybody's bragging on his feet, and his feet aren't set. He's got bad footwork, and watching him, he had to bail out of the pocket a lot. I mean, he got sacked 4 times. But even bailing out of the pocket, he's setting his feet. He's making good throws. They heard on the broadcast a couple times while I was watching the highlights that they're saying, Bo Nix he looks good. He's making good throws. They're just not catching it. And his interception was right through his receiver, right through the receiver's hands. Just hit the hands and goes right through the middle. Then I don't know. I really think there should be a stat for receiver interceptions.
I always said that there should be something. I said the exact same stat, too.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not on him.
Yeah.
That's not on the quarterbacks. It's on the quarterbacks when it's Darnold's.
Yeah.
That's on the quarterback. But when it hits your receiver in the hands, or it's an easily catchable ball that you tip up or you miss, that's not on the quarterback. But anyways, even if you take that away, I mean, his completion percentage was not that great, but the passes he was making, and I saw, he looked good. He was throwing it into tight windows, making good throws.
He was up against the second best team in the NFL?
Not on pass defense.
No, like overall team.
A lot of people say this.
Top 3. Top 5.
They give up on average 280 yards in the air.
But
So,
here's
he
why I
was
can't
up
put
against
them.
a top 5 team.
All right, here's why I can't put them in the top 5. I give you 2 reasons. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns. If you're one of the best 5 teams in the league, you can't lose to both of those teams in the same season.
That's fair.
I'm gonna say you can't be ranked 32nd for passing yards per game and be ranked and be in the top 5.
Right.
They're giving up 30. They're 32nd out of 32. They are giving up 280 yards per game in the air. Now they are like second in rush yards per game at like 78.
Yeah, Mr. Henry.
No. In giving up
Giving up.
on defense.
But see, that's where those statistics kind of get skewed, because if they're shutting down the run so much, the opposing team's got to throw more.
Yeah. But that still comes out to 360 yards a game.
Yeah, that's a lot of yards.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I would have I don't know. It's hard to say because I didn't actually get to watch all of his incompletions. Like I just got to watch a couple of them, and the ones that were incomplete were the overthrows. But I mean, like watching him play is like he got sacked 4 times. Yep, tells me that they're ranked number 4 for sacks now in the league as a team. The Ravens are, and so they get a lot of pressure on him. And I think it's probably something where they blitz more because he's a rookie quarterback, and it worked. Now, I will say, because I just love comparing him to Caleb Williams and the number 1 overall draft pick because
you can.
I can, and I love kind of rubbing this, is Caleb Williams was sacked 6 times this week with the Arizona Cardinals. He went 22 for 41 with a QBR of a whopping 18.4.
Yeah. He was not his best week.
No. Jaden Daniels did Jaden Daniels thing. You can't even put him in the same hat anymore, I don't think. That kid's just nuts.
He was the quarterback I wanted, honestly. I'm glad we got McCarthy. I think McCarthy's going to be solid, and where we had to pick, McCarthy was probably a great pickup. But I was hoping somehow we'd find a way to get Daniels in Minnesota. I think he's going to be very, very good for a while.
Yep. What I am hoping is Stroud's kind of been falling off this year.
Well, sophomore slump.
I'm wondering, can they come back for their junior jump or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Can Stroud come back? Like, he's had a quiet year this year. Jaden Daniels is doing a repeat of what Stroud did last year. Can he keep it up?
That's a good point. Will teams figure him out?
Yeah.
After a season, will they figure it out? Well, here's what we need to do to adjust to his skill set.
Yeah.
But maybe they can't. Maybe he'll be like Lamar Jackson and they can't figure it out. To where Lamar Jackson is actually the one who's made the adjustments. Because I always picked on Lamar's passing. I always called him a running back who threw once in a while. He's not that anymore.
No. He heard your criticism.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure somebody told him it was me, and he said, "I'm going to show the." No,
I'm going to show this guy.
He's figuring it out. He's figured it out. He throws more to his strength. I don't think he's great at throwing the ball downfield. He'll get one now and then. He'll catch the defense, and a lot of that is on those, playground plays where he busts out of the pocket and somebody forgets to cover a receiver. It's like, oh, he's wide open. I'll just flip it down there now.
Yeah, I forget to cover Flowers.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I thought he was going to run, and he stopped, and Flowers didn't, and oops.
Yep.
So, I don't see him throwing the ball where it's a straight drop back, throwing a fly or a post.
Yeah.
But he throws more to his strength now, which is that 15 to 20-yard passing game, crossers over the middle, uses his tight ends really, really well. He has done that from the beginning. So he's matured as a quarterback, as a passer now. I still don't trust him to win a game when he needs to.
That's fair.
I haven't seen him do that yet, where he needs to make plays in the last couple of minutes of a game to pull one out.
I think his thing is more trusting his teammates to make plays.
That's a fair point.
I think he tries to do too much himself, and he doesn't trust his teammates to get open or make the plays or make the, one-handed grabs down the field that are going to save the game for you. I think he tries to do too much.
Well, the Kansas City game, he missed on 2 wide open receivers where they could have won that game. And people can talk about the toes all you want. He had the 2 passes prior to that. He had guys wide open, and he just botched the throw.
Yeah.
And then I think was it the Raider game where he broke free on the last play? He got down to the 15-yard line, and instead of just trying to make it on his own, he stopped and tried to find somebody else to finish the run for him. Something to that effect. It's like, dude, you're in your element. You're in the open. You're in the where you can juke and twist and make guys look silly, and you stop doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't fully trust him yet to win games when he has to, but he's darn good. You don't win
Yeah.
MVP awards if you're not. And that's the way Three Blind Vikes goes.
Yeah.
We bring up Lamar Jackson's abilities. We go where no man has gone before on a Vikings football podcast.
Yeah. Everywhere.
We talk about it all. All right. Are we ready?
Is
We're
it
ready.
time?
This is going to be good. You're going to like this one, I think.
Valhalla.
I had to watch the entire game of this one because there were no like short clips of it. I only found one video and it was the entire game. We go to December 20th, 1998. The Jaguars come to Minnesota for Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
Vikings get on the board first. Gary Anderson from 48 yards out, 6.5 minutes in, 3-0 Vikings. 10 minutes into the second quarter, another one. This time 53 yards out. This was his epic year. And the Vikings led 6-0. About 2 minutes left in the half. Randall Cunningham finds Andrew Glover wide open from 14 yards out. Vikings missed the 2-pointer, and they're up 12-0. The drive itself was set up by an Orlando Thomas interception at midfield on a horrible overthrow by rookie quarterback Jonathan Quinn. Mike Hollis finally gets Jacksonville on the board, 25-yard field goal at the end of the half. The Vikings go up 12-3. That field goal was set up by a 38-yard pass interference penalty for the Vikings. We're only a minute into the second half, and Randall Cunningham drops back, and he finds Randy Moss, who we've been talking about tonight, on a flea flick, 43 yards out, and the Vikings lead goes to 19-3. That touchdown became the 10th 40-plus yarder of the season for Moss, and it tied an NFL record for 40-plus yard touchdowns in a season. Then with about 4 minutes left in the third, Cunningham finds Glover again. He throws into triple coverage. Glover comes down with it, and the Vikings are up 26-3 as we head to the fourth. Early fourth, Brad Johnson, who came in for Cunningham. Cunningham had a busted hand. His left hand was in rough shape. He was actually handing off the ball with his right hand in this game. They call off the Dogs at 26-3. They put in Johnson. He hits Chris Carter on a 1-yard slant. Vikings take a 33-3 lead.
Let's go.
Catch. Touchdown number 100 for Chris Carter.
Let's go.
So two milestones in this game. In the fourth, Gary Anderson from 44 yards out puts the Vikings up 36-3. That was set up by a John Randall strip sack with Jason Fisk falling on the fumble. Then after Fred Taylor, no, not Fred Taylor. We're not at the Fred yet. 21 seconds after that field goal, Jimmy Hitchcock, 30-yard pick six, 43-3 Vikings.
Let's go.
Then Fred Taylor would fumble. Bobby Houston would pick it up, carry it down inside the one. Charles Evans dives in. It's 50-3 Vikings.
Jesus.
Jonathan Quinn throws a Pete Mitchell touchdown with about 3 minutes to play. Little window dressing. The Vikings hold on for a 50-10 win.
Jeez.
You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown.
It was the fourth quarter was just a frenzy of scoring. Cunningham was 16 for 30 on the day, 210, 3 touchdowns, and playing with a fractured bone in his left hand. Robert Smith, 101 yards and 19 carries. Randy Moss, only 3 catches for 72 yards, but a touchdown. Glover, 54 yards and his 3 catches, 2 scores. John Randall would have 2 sacks in this game. This game has a couple of reasons I used it. The first one is this was the first time the Vikings ever played the Jaguars.
Okay.
And the Jags had won the division earlier in the day based on, I think, a Colts loss. Somebody lost, so they had clinched the division already. But this game clinched home field advantage for the Vikings in 98. First time in the history of the NFL that a dome team clinched home field advantage.
Nice.
Let's go.
Do you
That
think
is
this
this
is
week.
another history-making game, considering Justin Jefferson only needs
102 yards.
102 yards?
That game had so much history. I didn't realize how much there was in that game against the Jags. And we don't have a long history against the Jags. We're only 6 games, I think.
Okay.
7 games. We're 6-1 against them. So there wasn't a lot to pick from, but that had a lot of stuff in it.
I
And
Yeah,
like
that one had a lot there.
And I had to watch the whole game.
It was a nail
Nice.
biter.
And I am sure you enjoyed every bit of it.
It was fantastic. Quinn had to play because Mark Brunell had hurt himself, and he was sitting out until the playoffs. So it's like, oh, good, rookie quarterback against that defense. Yeah,
Let's go.
this was fun.
That's awesome.
Well,
I don't
Let's
think
get
we have
our-
time for a Nostradamus question.
yeah, no Nostradamus tonight. We're just gonna. I'll save it for next week.
Sounds good.
Let's just get our picks in and call it a night.
All right. You want to go first?
I think we win. And I say we win 24-13.
So an 11-point low scoring, relatively low scoring game. Okay.
Yeah.
Or what do you got? You picked us to blow out the Colts.
I know. I'm not going to have us blow out. I am going to have us win because I do need to just superstitions tell me I need to stick with my sheet. 27-17 Vikings.
10-point win for the Vikes.
Yep.
I think. Well, we got a clean sweep tonight because I am going to pick us to win again. That they've gotten my trust back after.
Yay!
Woo!
I'm so glad.
Yay. It's like a weird relationship.
They're still
33.
good and you should still believe in them.
They have to make me believe.
That's fair. That's,
Remember, we talked to them about they're our children, right?
Yeah.
Now you guys got to show me I can trust you again.
And if you don't,
Oh, yeah.
I can't leave you in the house alone if I come back and there's a mule in the front yard and I don't know how I
I was
got
trying
there.
to sneak a croissant in the bed.
Yeah, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm taking us to win 33-21,
let's go.
and the 33 comes off of 5 touchdowns and 2 missed extra points.
Let's go.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
I love it.
Might even be 3 missed extra points and a 2-point conversion to make up for it, but
You realize what your X factor is, right?
yeah. I know. I have to play all. I'm covering all bets here.
Covering all your bases.
Yeah, playing both sides of the coin here.
I'm betting half on black and half on red here, and hoping they just break even.
That's
I'm gonna put
beautiful.
20 on red and 20 on black.
Black. And then my luck, I'd be playing one with the green space, and that would be
Right.
what comes up, and I lose it all.
Right.
The green zeros. You don't want
It
to
ends
play
up our offense has 0 production at all, and it's all defense.
Let's go.
couple of defensive touchdowns.
Yep.
Make you believe again.
Or 3 defensive touchdowns with 3 missed extra points.
Yeah.
Murphy. Gets
Murph,
266.
listen, you've got Murph picking off 2 passes on Sunday.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I
Like
can see it.
that's bold. That's a very bold prediction.
I'm not going to say he's going to get a pick 6, but he could be 2 of those defensive touchdowns.
He could.
Yep.
This is what we do here. We don't just pick things. We get bold with our choices.
We go big or go home.
Yeah.
Even though we're all home, we're still
And
going
sometimes
big.
people should listen to us
Yeah.
But don't bet on what we say.
don't bet on that.
Yeah.
because we know stuff. We pretend we know stuff.
Yep.
All right. I think that will do it for this week. Hopefully, we're coming back to talk about a second consecutive win next week.
A positive.
More positives. First of 3 road games. This is a rough schedule, no matter what the schedule makers tell us.
That's fair.
3 road games in a row is brutal.
And no matter what it is, you are playing professionals at their own game. So they're there in the NFL for a reason. They're not always easy.
No, they aren't. But like you said, that's where they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Take care. See you in a week.
Have a good night.
School.
Pull us out.
School. 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 School.